Hello everyone and welcome to Game 3 in the series between Kaz and WhiteRa. Game 3 taking place here on Shakura's Plateau. Terran versus Protoss. WhiteRa spawning on the bottom right hand side of the map as the red Protoss player. Meanwhile Kaz spawning on the bottom left hand side of the map as the blue Terran. Terran versus Protoss on Shakura's. We'll see what comes of this and how these players are gonna do. So far, I believe the series is tied at 1 game apiece. So no one with a clear lead just quite yet as the games are underway. Close pylon being established by WhiteRa. Meanwhile, it looks as though a front door supply depot being established by Kaz as a probe will now make his way out and do some scouting. Now, WhiteRa is going to be a little bit hurting in terms of his economy since he is moving out with this rather early probe. The probe is pretty much going to see a lot of what's going on inside the base unless Kaz decides to go for a gasless opening, enabling him to set up a supply depot by saving those minerals and not getting a refinery. We'll see if he does do that, and then most likely what WhiteRa will do is expand behind this. 9 times out of 10, when you see a Terran go gasless opening, he is going to be expanding, but instead we are going to have that refinery now placed down. Probe going to come up that ramp, take a look, spot this supply depot and this barracks on the front door. Probe getting in some harassing damage, and now the probe really needs to see if there is a gas. He is going to spot the gas, and now pretty much knows what is going on in this game. At the most, what Kaz can do is either a Reaper Marauder Hellion expansion, some sort of variation on that, a 1 barracks expansion. He could try to go into Hellions, but Stalkers absolutely destroy Hellions early on in the game, and even later in the game, as an SCV once again battles it out with a probe. Now, Kaz, WhiteRa now backing off with that probe once more. The SCV has taken some damage, and now we see another barracks being built further away. WhiteRa is going to decide to actually scout this out and spots this. So very, very nice game sense by WhiteRa. WhiteRa just 1 step ahead, knowing exactly what Kaz is going to do. And this is not normally done. So very, very nicely done by WhiteRa, as WhiteRa may decide to get another gateway or more production buildings after seeing that his opponent is building 2 quick production buildings. It looks like it may be mass Marines here. We are still harvesting gas, so a stim pack may come underway. If we do add down a tech lab, I wouldn't be surprised to see combat shield first and training up a lot of Marines. That is a very common strategy if a Terran player wants to move out or perhaps even just get concussive shells. And it doesn't look like any player is looking to take an expansion yet, even though this is Shakura's Plateau, a rather friendly macro map. Oh, the SCV trying to make his way out. The Zealot doing a very good job keeping and trapping that SCV in on the inside there. And the probe, oh, gets in another zap. And now Kaz pretty much knows that SCV's days are numbered. There it goes. Probe getting the final shot off there. We are going into Marauders. No concussive shell as of yet. Not quite sure why. Perhaps waiting for a supply depot to not be supply blocked. There we go. There's a supply depot now being built. Once again on the ins or close to the base, as there is a probe sitting at the Zelnaga Tower, keeping track of essentially everything that is going on. Marauders still being trained here. 3 Marines, 1 Marauder about to make their way out across the map. This probe should spot the units well in time and attempt to retreat. We'll see if that probe does retreat. Yes, it will be doing exactly that, as the Marines gain sight of that probe leaving the tower and now knows that he can just simply hold that tower with 1 Marine. More Marines being trained, concussive shell now being added. We'll see if combat shield or stim is added next. Stim, a very powerful upgrade, as most Terran players do want to try to get it and establish it early, and it will be stim. So it is going to be concussive shells and stim for so perhaps some early burst damage on these Marines and those Marauders. Marines and Marauders are just going to relax, jump inside that bunker, and perhaps, no, not jump inside the bunker right now, as we now see WhiteRa sitting on a fair amount of gateways, but still playing defensively. Those warp gates are done upgrading. We can see that a Nexus is being established here, and now going for a robotics facility on the low ground. What will WhiteRa do, as he needs to perhaps establish his third base slightly more quickly, as we already have an orbital command at the natural expansion. Marines and Marauders simply waiting for a drop that is so far not coming in. WhiteRa is well known for perhaps executing drops in a manner with that Warp Prism. Very, very effective. He can pick up 4 units, then drop the units. We'll see if he was going to be going for a drop, or if I don't know what I'm talking about, he could be going for an Observer. And no, going straight into a robotic space, so not even opting to get an Observer first, as even though he does have the minerals and gas for it, he's instead going for an Immortal for defense. Immortals are one of those units that have really made a strong comeback in StarCraft 2 and being very, very strong. You can see now there is a Marine on patrol here, making sure that there is no proxy pylon, but that Marine somehow didn't see that probe, and the probe is going to be able to slip by, and the Marine, not realizing that the probe is there, now going to perhaps try to chase down this probe. The Marine now going to do a run around the entire portion of the map here. Another proxy pylon being established, and this is going to be perhaps some very early engagement as a set of destructible rocks now being destroyed. Level 1 weapons upgrade not even started for Protoss. Meanwhile, it has started for the Terran player. A Marine now making its way is going to spot this pylon here for some reason. Oh, a Zealot is going to warp in, and the Zealot is going to perhaps try to chase down the Marine. And the Marine with a slightly faster damage, no more energy or no more hit points for Stim. That is going to be a very, very sad day for that Marine. He really has nowhere he can run. Perhaps just trying to run away. A new unit could be warped in here as the Zealot attempting to chase down that Marine. The Marine down to 3 hit points. And the Zealot unable to really do anything. Oh, able to barely escape. Now, there is a proxy pylon set up here after the destructible rocks have been destroyed. A rather curious location. Marines on the low ground making sure nothing reinforcing at this location, as WhiteRa now up to 92 over 116 compared to Kaz's 99 versus over 110. Harvester counts are about even. No one with a real strong advantage as Marauders and Marines finish off this pylon here. That pylon going to get taken down with relatively no issue. The second pylon may get destroyed as well. WhiteRa needs to reinforce if he wants to try to fight this back, but one Marine going to take this out. The Marine needs to back off, re-engage, and multiple Marines find itself in time, and this pylon will be destroyed. Proxy pylons now being added down here. Not quite sure what to make of the positioning on some of these pylons, as now a new proxy pylon being established by WhiteRa. Reinforcements will be coming in midfield. We'll see how much damage they will be able to do. The front door does have supply depots, making it rather difficult to try to position themselves. Colossi, even though they can walk up a cliff, cannot walk up a supply depot. And now you see the damage is being dealt. Marauders and Marines, SCVs, and how much damage is going to be had as the SCVs are now simply trying to repair. Kaz is upside down on food. Marauders with a range of 7 inside there, continuing to fight back. Stalkers are getting destroyed. Sentries could get more force fields. There you go. And the Colossi just simply corralling all the units. More force fields once again being laid down. The bunker taking a lot of damage, but SCVs are actually on the front of it, able to constantly repair. And even though there are 2 Colossi, the Colossi are continuing to just attack, move into this group here. One Marauder. Vikings finally arrive. SCVs still attempting to repair, and the SCVs are holding out against a large group of units, but this is still not looking good. SCVs attempting to repair even further. Perhaps the Vikings will land. Stalkers going after the Viking. SCVs need to repair the bunker, and that will be GG. That has been taken out. And now all Kaz has is 52 food versus a 93 army. WhiteRa with a devastating blow, able to knock down the front door even though there were supply depots there. Utilizing Immortals, and Colossi didn't even have weapons upgrades compared to the upgraded 1-0 Marauders and Marines. Immortals looking to bust open this front door. It looks like more units will get taken out as the Marauders and the Marines trying to fight back. A Zealot able to barely escape there. SCV taking a little bit more damage than it should, as the Vikings are trying to at least semi-kite that Colossus and deal damage. All the production buildings of Kaz are being destroyed, but back over here, there was a really strong drop. Yeah, so 35 workers killed compared to 14. There are still a fair amount of workers. What is happening here? Total of 38 workers compared to 31. So a drop in the at the natural, preventing WhiteRa from doing a lot of harvesting, but WhiteRa still has a 40 food advantage. The medevacs now simply are retreating. SCVs are now moving back down to the low ground. This one poor medevac not going to see the light of day, as this is Shakura's Plateau. The sun never rises. And now we do have Vikings in the air waiting for what will be a very strong push coming in from WhiteRa next. WhiteRa not trying to macro up behind this. He's not establishing any new bases. Instead, just building up as many units as possible. He is currently low on resources, though, unable to really get that many more units. All of his gateways, the cooldown has completed, and Kaz looking to perhaps fend off and perhaps do some very efficient trading once again. You can see that there are 2 Colossi in the group. There are Stalkers in this group. 3 Colossi now. No weapons upgrade. And how much damage is going to be had as the Vikings need to shoot down those Colossi. And there it goes. One Viking has been taken out. 2 Vikings now taken down. As now, what is happening here? The Colossi still backing around, playing this game of chicken. Missile turret now going to get destroyed. There are Marauders inside the bunker, able to deal more damage. How much damage can be had as the Vikings are trying to take down the Colossi? Stalkers are now charging in just a little bit prematurely. More Zealots needed to be added in order to absorb some of the shots and the damage from those Marauders, taking half damage from Marauders. As we now see where these Colossi, Stalkers, and Immortals will move off to. 5 Marines, 1 Marauder, level 1 armor upgrades being added, but WhiteRa with such a commanding lead in terms of overall size of his army, he should almost be able to attack move into this and still win this engagement. He's currently sitting on 7 Vikings. There's a Guardian Shield absorbing a lot of that damage. Marines are stimming, 1 bunker down. Colossi looks like they may fall, but I believe this will be it, as the Zealots are eating through so many Marauders and Marines. The GG should be coming in. WhiteRa up to 104. More Vikings are arriving, but I believe that will be enough. And there is the GG coming in from Kaz. So Kaz losing Game 3 in this series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.